Elsie, what do you think? How's life?
It's getting better, I think. I think it's getting better. It's been an interesting couple weeks.
Okay, tell me.
Well, Paul went on some medication for the ADD, and he's been so successful that he's been getting all sorts of things accomplished.
That makes you happy, huh?
Well, mostly for work, but
Okay.
a little bit around the house too, and it's a little different. It's very different. It's like a different person almost.
Does he notice it?
He's really happy with it. I mean, he really wasn't that interested in taking medicine, and frankly, doesn't really go for therapy and stuff like that, but hey, it works, and he's just really happy about
wonderful.
it. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. Hasn't solved all my problems, but I'm getting a different perspective on it, I think.
Good, and he can't solve all of your problems.
Oh, well, do you think, I don't know that I expected him to.
Okay, but you said he's better. Well, there was something that you said that
well,
made me think, but
I think that there's still some problems that I'm having that
Yes.
I'm coping with. And I talked to the therapist. I went in and had my visit as well.
okay,
And
the psychiatrist.
yeah, the
Yes.
psychiatrist. Yeah, I get the terms confused.
Okay, the psychiatrist is a physician.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, he didn't want to talk so much, but I think that he suggested a couple different medications. So I just started on one, but apparently it doesn't kick in for a little while.
Right.
So I'm not really feeling that different. I felt a little sick, a little stomach, disagreement
And
with
he
it.
explained to you
Yeah.
that often, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm willing to try it. I
Are
think
the side effects gone? I mean, are you feeling better now?
they're
You just-
they're getting better.
Okay.
Still a little dizzy sometimes and
Okay.
things like that. But, I think that the main thing is that I feel a little bit more hopeful.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Yeah, I mean, I guess when I first came to see you, frankly, I think that I felt like it was split up with my husband, or those were the only two options. I think it's either split up with my husband or find out something else I can do. What can I change about me that can, and I know I complain about him too much. I get used to hearing my own voice. I don't even like hearing myself complain, but I just felt that I was backed into a corner, and I guess finding out about ADD has been helpful.
Elsie, the fact of the matter is you weren't getting, it seems, the normal amount of attention. You weren't, you wrote an article and he hadn't read it. He kind of brushed it aside. That was years ago. But he has a hard time saying no to other people. And hopefully, after the ADD is better under control, maybe he'll come back here with you, or maybe he'll see someone on his own, so that he can learn how to basically say no. Other people will continue to get what they can from him, because people will get what they can get. And he's unable to say no. For instance, you're wondering what I mean by that? Yeah, if he's in an association or some kind of a group and somebody doesn't want to do something, they can ask Paul. He's not going to say no. So Paul can be overwhelmed with responsibilities. He might even feel flattered that they're giving him so much to do. Well, it may be that they just don't want to do it themselves. So he ends up with so many things on his list of things to do, but he's not able to say, no, I have enough to do. And the reason I have enough to do is I want to spend a certain amount of time with my wife, if that's what he really wants to do. He says he does. He hasn't been able to follow through on that. I would think he's disappointed in himself that he's not able to do what he wants to do.
Well, this is something that I've thought about sometime. I wonder if I'm putting too many things on his list. Maybe I'm too demanding. Maybe I felt in competition with all his other activities. Maybe I'm trying to put a lot of things on his list so that my items get more priority than the other items that he has, or I get more.
It's possible. It's possible you're very demanding and very needy.
Huh.
It is possible.
But I don't want to think of myself that way.
Well, it may be a reality. But right now, there are just simple things that you really stated that were important to you that he hasn't followed through on.
Mm-hmm.
And it may simply be because he's so confused and he really doesn't know how to make you happy.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't know come close, stay away, give you space, don't give you space. So you probably are a moody gal.
Hmm.
Do you think you're moody?
Well, I've been called moody, yes.
So you're hard to understand, or if he tries to please you or he wants to please you, he doesn't know how to, because he seems to be wrong. He can't read your mind, and maybe
Sure.
you wish he were
Yeah,
a mind reader.
But I mean, why do you think I found that in John? I mean, why do you think I was able to find somebody who was listening to me? And
How was it with you and Paul when you first met? But maybe your needs were different then, you know?
yeah, I think so. I dated a lot of different guys, and he was steady. I mean, he was somebody that I felt I could depend on, I guess.
Okay.
Sounds weird to say that, but
Okay. But this John, were you asking me why did he listen to you? Were you asking
why
the
did I feel like he listened so much better than
Oh,
Paul?
well. He was listening better.
Uh-huh.
He was trying to sell you on something, him. He was a very good salesman until the end.
Yeah.
He wanted to go to bed with you. Didn't he?
Well, I guess. I look in the mirror and I just don't see it. I don't see why. I feel like
You're not feeling good about yourself, period. So hopefully when you're feeling better about yourself, you'll look in the mirror and be impressed with what you see. But he wouldn't necessarily see what you see in the mirror.
That's true.
So we don't know what he saw. We don't know what he was looking for. But you do know that he wasn't going to give up his life, his girlfriend or his child, for you. And he wasn't ambivalent about that at all. And he lied to you, didn't tell you about his daughter. So what did he want from you?
I think he was lonely,
Okay. And so were you.
Yeah. But loneliness isn't enough for a
No.
relationship. And I guess I haven't felt lonely. Well, I feel lonely when Paul doesn't pay attention to me, but I haven't felt lonely for a long, long time, I guess. And so, I mean, in terms of when I thought about leaving Paul, it's a little scary. I mean, there's so many changes going on in my life, and I really do appreciate the fact that he helped me pay for my schooling, and he's incredibly supportive. But
This wouldn't be a good time for you to separate. Because he's in the process of making some changes, and so are you. Internal changes, mood changes, brain changes. So this wouldn't be a good time to be thinking about that. I would say at least 3 or 6 months to see what you can put together. What you can make work. You won't be as moody. He won't feel like a failure. After all, if you're in a bad mood and he wants to cheer you up or make you feel better, and he can't figure out how to do that, he'd feel pretty helpless, wouldn't he? He can't even help his own wife.
Yeah, well, I just hope he... I mean, I don't think he takes me for granted. I mean, he's very polite. He says thank you and please, and I appreciate that you did that or whatever. But
I don't think he understands things in the same way you do.
oh, what do you mean by that?
I mean that you have certain expectations or certain wishes, and you wish that he understood those things. Like when you're upset and he wants to help you, and you say, "No, well, why don't you ask me when I'm feeling better?" Why would he ask you how to make you feel better when you're feeling good? Do you understand? That's kind of a strange thing to say to somebody.
Oh.
It's pretty confusing. Because when you're feeling good, if he said to you, "How can I make you feel good when you're feeling sad?" Because that's what you're asking him to do, isn't it?
Sure.
What are you going to say then?
Well, I mean, I think about it afterwards, and then I make a suggestion, because I really...
Okay, so here, then it would be a good thing for you to write down on a piece of paper
Okay.
all the ways that he could make you feel good
Yeah.
when you're feeling lousy.
Okay.
Things other than being on time or cleaning the crap off
Okay.
the floor or whatever, the things you've talked about here.
Sure.
Other things, like, would it make you happy if he brought home flowers?
Oh, yeah, he used to do that all the time.
Ah,
But then we stopped doing that because sort of a waste of, you know. But he started planting flowers. He really likes flowers a lot.
so he plants the flowers, and when they grow and they blossom. Does he bring them into you as a bouquet?
No, but we enjoy them in the yard.
Okay,
Yeah.
but that's not a special thing for
No.
you, is it?
But you know, when I look at the flowers, I know that I didn't plant them.
Okay.
You know, that is a
Okay.
reminder. Maybe I need to just remind myself of what he does for me and how he makes me feel. 'Cause I
That would
think
be a
that's
very good thing to do.
okay.
So that's another list.
So maybe it's possible to fall in love with somebody again. I don't know. Maybe that's what I was seeking. That the infatuation with John was,
Romance.
yeah,
Romance.
yeah. I guess I expect it to sort of just happen normally. Just it should be spontaneous.
All
and it should
right.
just-
And so when Paul asks you, "What can I do to help you feel better?" could you say, "I'd like more romance in our relationship"? Well, he might say, "Well, what do you mean?" And you'd say, "Well, remember when you used to bring me flowers?" Ah, he can put that on his list. What are some of the other things he did when you were being romanced?
Oh, he used to write to me. He used to write me notes.
Romantic things? You mean
Well,
like love
just-
notes?
Not really like poems or anything like that, but he would say how much he missed me and what he was doing and what made him think of me. And he says that he still thinks of me during the day, now, but it's sort of like show me.
Okay, so
Like that song, show me. Don't tell me, show me.
okay. Then how did he get the note to you? How was
Oh,
that?
well, that was those were the early days of electronic mail, and since he was in a computer industry, he was able to act, before a lot of people had AOL and all that. So he used to send me some email. He found out how to get in touch with me because of being in the news business. We had, a variety of different contacts. So, or sometimes he even wrote me a letter. He wrote me a physical letter. How
And
many
mailed
people?
it?
Yes. Yes.
Oh.
He's one of the few people I know who still buys stamps.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, and he does buy me a card for, anniversaries and stuff. Maybe if I put them all somewhere that I could look at them instead of thinking about, well, this was late or this was on a day I was in a bad mood. Maybe that would help.
How about, would you consider sending him a card or sending him a letter?
Yeah, but I'd want it to be sincere, you know. I don't want to
And right now you're not feeling very lovey-dovey?
well, not for a long time. I feel like, well, I feel like things have degenerated so far. I mean, it's sort of like, I'm not going to do it until he does this, or I'm not going to do that until he does that.
Elsie, it's fine for you to ask him to bring you flowers and send you a letter or send you some email messages. He's having a rough time too. So
Yeah.
where is he going to get that positive energy to do that for you?
Mm. Yeah. I wish I could just have a magic wand and
Yeah,
feel
well, you
differently.
said that when you go out and look at the flowers, it cheers you up.
Yeah, the flowers still do, I have to say.
Okay, so if you were outside looking at the flowers and writing a note,
Mm-hmm.
would that work?
Yeah, that might be a place to start. I could write about the flowers, if nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
You'd give me a chance to write
You're a
something
good
more
writer.
creative than
There you are.
what I've
There
been
you
doing
are.
for my job.
And what about taking a picture of the
Yeah.
flowers and maybe making a card?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I could do that. Yeah, he probably like, you know, yeah, he cries when I send him something sentimental. I mean, even like I remember I gave him once a Hallmark card with a sappy little poem or whatever. And it was something that was, I mean, I don't even know if I took it seriously or if I was just doing it as a joke. But, I mean, I wanted, it was for an anniversary. It wasn't even our wedding anniversary. It was sort of the anniversary of our first date. And he cried. He was like, I was like, what's wrong with you? And he welled up and he was like, oh, that's so nice. But,
You know what, Elsie? It occurs to me that he may be one of these very friendly, warm-hearted people, and you may be a little tougher-minded.
oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. Especially after my career as a reporter. I mean, I was already started into it when I met him, but yeah, some of the stuff that I've seen, I wish I hadn't seen, and you have to develop a thick skin, you know, you just can't let, you know, people's stories, you know, I mean, some of it's going to tag on your heart, but, you know, you can't let it all get to you.
What makes you cry besides feeling sad about your own situation?
What makes me cry? Well, not the Hallmark commercials, that's for sure. I think when people don't have any options left, you know, when they've tried everything and they're just,
Being
because I think
trapped.
that reminds me of where I am, you know, it's something that's very close to me because I feel like that's what I'm going through, and I know what they're feeling, and I don't know that there's any answer for them.
So you feel sad or you cry when you see a situation that's similar to your own.
Yeah. Well, especially suicides. I mean, I was just driving across the bridge the other day. I don't know if you've noticed this, but it seems like in the past couple months, I've seen a lot more signs that say, life is worth living, call the suicide hotline, you know, people are here to help. And it just, sometimes if I'm like hitting it on the bad day, even if it's rush hour and I'm just distracted by the traffic, I start crying. I think, you know, that would be the last thing I would do is jump off a bridge. But oh my gosh.
How would you kill yourself if you were going to?
Oh, pills. I think, you know, pills. I'd want to go to sleep and not wake up or something. I want the pain to go away. I don't want to feel more pain. I'm afraid of heights. You know, the last thing I would do is try to conquer my fear of heights. But I mean, I can't believe I'm laughing about this. I don't really laugh very much, and it's bizarre. I mean, that's what it is. It's just bizarre. I mean, I guess I think that what people do when they try to, I mean, maybe this is my cynical mindedness again, but I think when people suicide by jumping off a bridge, they're actually mad at everybody, not just the world, because they're trying to cause a traffic jam and screw it up for everybody, not just, if I'm going to die, everyone's going to know about it. Everyone's going to suffer with them, even if it's traffic.
Should I tell you about the motivation that somebody had who jumped off the bridge? A
Wow.
real person? Let me tell you about this real person. He was in an accident, and it was a work accident, and he hurt his back, and the people wouldn't believe him. And he was down in like a pit, and dirt came in on him, and he was very much traumatized by that, and he couldn't sleep at night, and he had flashbacks. He had basically post-traumatic stress disorder. And the doctors that he went to see for his back didn't understand PTSD. And he was told that he should see a certain person and that after that things would get better. And he went to see that person, just a regular visit, a psychiatrist, psychologist. And not everything could be resolved in one visit. And he complained at that visit that he didn't have enough money to buy shoes for his children because he'd been out of work. And they weren't giving him workers' compensation because they thought he should have gone back to work. And he was mentally ill. And then I heard that he jumped off the bridge and killed himself.
Wow.
He didn't have anybody else in mind but his deep shame and frustration. And being trapped. He didn't know where else to go, what else to do. And he killed himself. Isn't that sad? The medical system didn't pick up on the PTSD. They didn't treat him properly. So he killed himself.
Wow.
And to this day, those physicians aren't even aware of it. They don't even get it. But that's just, you know, you made me think of this person who jumped off the bridge. And it's not anger, and it's not the things you're thinking. It's not the cynical. It's not the stuff that came out of your cynical thinking. No, it's a real tragedy. Now, you're not identifying with these people.
Not with a bridge jumper, no.
Okay. But you are identifying with the pill takers?
Well, yeah, it seems kind of like almost an honorable thing to do, you know.
So is that an option? Is that something you might think of
For
doing?
me?
Mm-hmm.
I guess if the pain got too bad, I mean, I don't know.
When you filled out your forms at the beginning, you did not say that you've been thinking about suicide. Remember, there was one of the questions, do you think about it? And you said no. Was that the truth, or do you think about it sometimes?
Well, only when I mean, after John and I broke up, and then I went back, and my house was full of piles of stuff, and I hadn't heard back from any of the job interviews I had went on, and you know, I opened up the newspaper, and another paper's closing, and
This was months ago, right?
yeah.
So are you in a different place now? You have a job?
Well, when I went back for my program, I don't know how, I guess one of my friends sent me a message, an email message that was announcing this program, and so I think that sort of was the thing that kind of pulled me around. I said, well, this sounds like me, let me try this, you know. But I don't know, I mean, when Paul's away on a long business trip, and I just felt like nobody cares whether I lived or died, and you know, my father's older now, and he's always been self-absorbed, so it's sort of not really.
Who else is around that's in your family?
Well, I have a cousin.
Your mother's dead?
Yeah, my mother passed away many years ago.
How many years ago?
Yeah, she had a cancer, and
Sisters or brothers?
well, I have one sister, and
You get along well?
Well, she's kind of into her own thing. She's more like my dad, you know. She's very, well, maybe I'm like my dad too, but she's very high-powered attorney, and I just can't.
Does
She's
she
the
live around
successful
here?
one. No, she lives on the West Coast, and she does something with technology law, and you know, very hot shot. And you know, my father talks about her being the rich one and the you know the smart one, and you know, he doesn't say, why don't you do that? I think he knows why I don't do that. I mean,
So when Paul is away, you feel very lonely.
oh yeah.
You don't have anyone to play with.
Well, yeah, I've kind of cut myself off. I used to have some closer friends, but you know, in the newspaper business, people move, you know, to kind of move up, and especially with the papers closing, and then sometimes people don't want to be around someone who's been laid off, and I mean, I usually didn't mind, but it was pretty depressing by the time I kind of was done with it. I've missed those people. I mean, but it makes me sad to try and get back with them, and I don't really have anything to show for what I've been doing since then either. So,
Elsie, our visit is almost over today, and you're going to be continuing with therapy, aren't you?
I
Good,
think so.
good. I'm beginning to worry a little bit about your thinking about suicide.
Well, I haven't really thought about it lately. I think that, you know,
What
it's
would
sort of
stop
haunted-
you?
What would stop me? Well, I have a little bit of hope. I think my job might get better,
Okay. Uh-huh.
and the changes that are happening with Paul, I mean,
And you'll call me if we don't have a visit and you're feeling really desperate. You'll call me, won't you?
yeah, or I could call some of the places on the bridge. Well, I shouldn't laugh about that, but
Well, that's true. You could call some of those numbers, or you could call me.
yeah. Yeah, I would
You
like
will,
that.
won't you?
Yeah, I will.